Welcome back. President Trump's executive moves on the border and national emergency declaration causing action to come quicker than anybody has seen over the last 4 years. Watch this. ICE arrested more than 1,400 illegal migrants between January 23rd and 25th alone. They lodged more than 1,200 detainers. Those arrested included dozens of Tren de Aragua gang members, sending them back. Trump's border czar Tom Homan joining federal agents in Chicago yesterday for some of those immigration raids. At the same time, I was talking with Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Sunday Morning Futures. Here's what he said.
So hundreds up to close to 1,000 are being sent back across the border on a daily basis under the Trump administration. Some are going to Mexico. Others, you will see flights that are going to Guatemala and some other Central American countries. And the Trump administration is going to be sending them back to their home countries and demanding compliance by these countries that they take back the people who have crossed the border illegally. And know this, and that is right now, I would say there's two categories of people that the Trump administration is sending back. One, they're trying to go after those who are public safety threats, who are criminals, as well as national security threats. And then the other that they're sending back is that, listen, those people who think they can cross the border and stay here in the country illegally now, those days are gone. And so if anybody apprehended coming across the border is going to be sent back immediately.
But will they then try to come back? Joining me now is Terrell County, Texas Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland, also a retired border agent himself. Sheriff, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What about that? What are you seeing on the ground? Give us your reaction to the governor there and whether or not they are going to try to just get back in a motorcade and come back.
Hey, good morning, Maria. Always great to be on with you. And I got to see your interview yesterday with the governor, and everything he said is in line with what I've seen, what I've experienced here in Texas and along the border. And in my county specifically, we had an uptick just before the inauguration, and some of our traffic's gone away. We will see how it holds up. It's kind of back to our normal ebbs and flows, if you will, but we'll see how that holds up. But to your question about, people coming back, I think people, will have some that do try to cross back, but I think a lot will see that President Trump isn't just giving the border lip service. He is backing up everything he said on the campaign trail, and it's all coming to fruition. It's night and day, Maria. It truly is.
It's amazing. How embedded are these drug cartels and dangerous gangs in America already, though, Sheriff? We've been talking about this Tren de Aragua gang now for a couple of years, and they've set up businesses in America, right? Drug trafficking businesses, human trafficking businesses. I was so happy to see that you all were able to send back some of these gang members who have been harassing Americans. But what about that question? How embedded are they already in America with businesses here and stash houses?
They're in every large city. Their tentacles spread out all across the United States like a spider web. That way, their distribution of those illegal drugs, such as fentanyl, methamphetamines, that are killing millions of Americans, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans a year. And they're not just they're killing Americans. And before, we experienced something similar to this with the Mariel boat lifts, which we've discussed before. And I've said it's going to take decades to clean up from this, but I'm having a different opinion. President Trump has removed all stops, and he is going after this hard with Tom Homan. Border Patrol's back on the line. They're seeing a decrease in traffic. ICE is going out, making arrests, working with state and locals too. You saw those lodged detainers. That's going to be key as well. Those illegal aliens that are already locked up, being able to get custody of them and then remove them from the country.
Well, look, President Trump is a boss, and he is dealing on the executive level. Look what just happened with the president of Colombia. He totally caved to Trump. First, he says he's not going to allow any of these flights, the deportation flights of illegal Colombian nationals, to land. He refused 2 flights Sunday, and that triggered President Trump. Immediately, he comes back with a threat. He's putting 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the U.S. from Colombia. Then that tariff goes to 50% 1 week later if the country refuses more flights. Then he proposes a travel ban, and he says he's going to revoke the visas of Colombian government officials, allies, and supporters. Colombia now has agreed to all of Trump's terms, including taking back all the illegal migrants deported out of the country And the president said, don't worry, I'll send my presidential jet to pick up some of these migrants. The foreign minister and ambassador expected to be in Washington today for high-level meetings. Sheriff, they got the message real quick.
They did, Maria, and you know what? I think we should go forward with the tariffs anyways, because there's still cocaine that pours in from Colombia. Look, we'll buy our coffee from Nicaragua, and not just cocaine coming in, but Mexico. We're going to see President Trump get tough with Mexico. We've seen Mexico kind of talk back to President Trump. They have to. Look, they're a sovereign nation themselves. They've got a long history with the United States of America, so they're going to push back, but they will eventually comply. We've seen them comply before. But we have to talk about the fentanyl discussion because, again, you look at the American lives that have been lost to fentanyl. The young adults look like my kids. The parents look like me and you, Maria. And my point is, Americans, I think we'd be willing to pay a little more for our goods if there is an increase in tariffs rather than having our loved ones die from fentanyl poisonings.
Of course. And you know, China is complicit in this as well. Is it not? In terms of producing the underlying materials in fentanyl coming out of China?
It certainly is. They're made there in China. They're smuggled into Mexico, or they come through the Mexican ports, and then they're made in clandestine labs down in Mexico. With, you know, that's why it's so volatile and dangerous, because you have regular people mixing these drugs together, making them look like fake pills, smuggling them across the border, and killing Americans.
Wow.
Hundreds of thousands of Americans a year.
Yes, I know that. For the last several years, more than 100,000 a year. Sheriff, what did you think of what President Trump said in Vegas this weekend? He's proposing a new plan for the nearly 90,000 IRS agents who were hired under the Biden administration. Watch this.
On day one, I immediately halted the hiring of any new IRS agents. You know, they hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you, and we're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border. I think we're going to move them to the border. Well, they're allowed to carry guns. You know, they're so strong on guns, but these people are allowed to carry guns, so we'll probably move them to the border.
You know, that's true. Remember, it was the Biden administration who enabled the IRS agents to carry a weapon. Sheriff, what do you think?
I loved it. My reaction was just like yours just now. And look, you know, this is a shout out to my Border Patrol, and it's not any disrespect to other agencies, but you can't just put anybody in a green Border Patrol uniform and expect them to go out and do what Border Patrol agents do. It takes a lot of learning how to go out and follow footprints through the desert, deal with people, save lives. But you can put a Border Patrol agent and expect them to do anything anybody else can. But we've had a lot of support, and I genuinely mean that. With a lot of love to our Border Patrol agents, but, you know, bring those 80,000 bodies down, give them the Department of Homeland Security, let them make Border Patrol agents out of them, ICE agents. You know, what it does, it really shows President Trump's support for the United States Border Patrol, and we are appreciative of that.
Well, that's right. I mean, I think he was saying it half facetiously, you know. I mean, what do IRS agents know about doing the job of a Border Patrol agent, of course? But you're right. If it means more bodies on the ground, maybe the Border Patrol will be happy. Look what the administration has done already, apparently locating 80,000 of those 300,000 migrant children that were lost by the Biden administration. Now, Fox News' Harris Faulkner reported this last week, that the number of children lost could be 300,000, Sheriff, and the Trump administration so far has been able to locate 80,000 of those. What can you tell us about this?
Maria, I'm going to tell you that, look, whether it was starting border security back on the border, supporting U.S. Border Patrol agent, he's done that. Apprehensions have plummeted. ICE deportations, ICE going out and arresting criminals. We've seen those numbers increase drastically. They're having the opportunity to go out and do their job again. Now the children. Those are three core promises that he made, that Tom Homan has continuously talked about. This is just scratching the surface. They're going to go out. They're going to find more. Some stories are going to be good. Some stories are going to be sad, unfortunately. But Americans need to know that again, President Trump's going to go after and find them. It's a shame that this happened to begin with. It's a crying shame.
It sure is. Sheriff, thanks so much for your leadership and your work out there. We appreciate it.